episode of Q&A with Sharon's son, George. I'm George, and today, honestly, I have such an honor and that he would take the time out today to speak with all of us. Obviously, Parkinson's unfortunately affected my family when my mother was lost due to Parkinson's disease on 1/1/2020. And since I've become an advocate, but it's really about everybody else. As many of you already know, I just fight for you. I don't want you to have to go through this disease, but really somebody who's special to all of us is Congressman Paul David Tonko. He's with me. I'm really honored to have him. He's an eighth term member at the United States House of Representatives. As a small child, I've always, worked in politics and dreamt of making an impact, but he's actually really done it. So I just wanted to welcome you, sir, and really grateful for your time.
Thank you, George. It's an honor to be with you. And let me, in the outset, express my condolences on your loss. Parkinson's is something that has impacted far too many people. And as we all know, it's the second most common neurological disease, and unfortunately, it's growing. So my condolences to you and your family and your mom's friends. But, we have to provide hope to that community. And so it's an honor to be with you today to discuss this topic.
Thank you. And before we jump into it, because obviously you made not just Christmas, Hanukkah, every holiday come true last year in December 2023 for us all by finally, putting this bill through. But maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe if you had, obviously Parkinson's affected you and your family.
It's more the constituents. I haven't had a direct impact as it relates to family, but in this role, you're dealing with 800,000 plus people in your district, and it because it affects so many people, you're bound to know just by the odds someone and many someones who are impacted by the disease. And I think of a few as we're talking here that have really made it a very deeply driven goal to enable them to conquer this disease and face it with dignity and strength. And Mark Burek, who's in my district, has set up so many plans, and they've worked with the local Y to stay very fit and strong, to fight this with every ounce of their being. And when I see that sort of determination and that kind of struggle, but with such grace and valor, I said, I've got to do something. And I sat down and, had worked with another neurological disease that has impacted many, the Alzheimer's groups. And we put together a national plan for Alzheimer's. And, I was thinking, like, how can we help the Parkinson's community? And it was a rep. It was an exec from the Michael J. Fox Foundation that said, look, we could have that kind of focus too. And I thought, how important a goal to make that, get it done, make certain that we put these, major agencies and non-federal type representatives that are working in that disease space and bring them together and develop a national plan that would put extreme focus on addressing better diagnoses, finding a cure, and certainly allowing for families to be better reinforced during these struggles. So that is it in a nutshell. It was driven by a desire to help the 1 million plus people and to put together the strength that we have as a nation with our intellectual capacity, put that capacity to work to find a cure for this disease, and at the same time, make certain that, detecting this disease, that the efforts to address their needs during their struggle contain a lot of effectiveness, better improved opportunities to serve the population that lives with Parkinson's.
A lot of what you said inspires me every day. Unfortunately, there are nights I still don't sleep thinking of ways to, get awareness out. I feel we don't reach people, not just in the Parkinson's community, but those outside, what you're doing, then we'll never, come closer to a cure. So I really appreciate your efforts on that. I have so many questions. Obviously, we're limited because you're so busy, but what was it like spearheading the bill? Did you have any? I'm shocked that even a few representatives didn't vote for it. I kind of selfishly wanted to write them and ask why, but I decided not to bother. But we had over 400 for.
Yeah.
So, it's nice to see a rare bipartisan bill. but I just was curious, was it a tough thing to spearhead? I know you worked with some of the leaders in this bill.
Yeah, it's like any struggle here with the legislative process. You want to make certain you build support with sponsors, that you share with people the focus that you have here, what the driving goal is, and you incorporate everyone's story. So many people that will share their story with this disease. And so that's what, over a matter of years we developed. And we're determined to make certain that we make this a bicameral, bipartisan thing, because Parkinson's, as we all know, has no sense of boundaries. So we developed that. We worked our strategy through, and eventually it was putting together a bipartisan effort, myself with Representative Gus Bilirakis of Florida, and then Senators Capito and Murphy in the other house, and making certain that we had it as a bicameral, bipartisan effort to go forward and incorporate as many as we could. We ended up with over 200 sponsors in all of Congress, and that kept growing by the year. And it was that networking too by the Parkinson's community. Many people heard about the bill, and then they started to advocate, and that advocacy was terrific in helping us grow our drive to get this done. But now our work is to continue to work with the Senate and encourage them to pass this ASAP, so that we can then get this on the president's desk, because we're holding back providing the hope for over 1 million people in this country and their loved ones. So, I just would encourage anyone who's tuning in to your podcast here to make certain that if they know of anyone, to just share their thoughts with those of us in government, so that we can continue to move this along. Speak to your local representatives in the U.S. Senate, especially right now. That's where the bill is still being addressed. And, we'll get this done, I'm convinced.
Yeah, I'm in Florida. Senator Rubio and Scott have signed on to support it. So I always 24/7 trying to also everyone listening to reach out to your senators. It's not as complicated maybe because it's just a smaller amount of individuals, but it might be tougher due to their difficulty to reach them. But that's a really amazing advice. Uh, and you actually answered a few of the questions. How much a role do the representatives still play when it goes to the Senate? Is it difficulty? I know how great it is to be a part of it, but then seeing it, in others' hands might be a little stressful.
Well, I learned a long time ago, even though I have a bit of a bashful gene, that the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and you never stop pushing until it's all complete. And then there's even pushing after the bill is signed into law, because implementation is important. And so you want it to be implemented to the letter of the law, every I dotted, every T crossed. So, there's work that remains, but it's all the drive, the passionate drive to make a difference for folks who truly deserve our respect and our assistance from every level of government and the private sector. And so wanted to do my part with this whole thing as I began to understand more and more people that I knew were being diagnosed with Parkinson's. And I thought, wow, these are like growing numbers. Are we that much more aware, or is there that much more incidence of Parkinson's? But whatever the degree of response is, our goal to do what we can in federal legislative format is ultimately very critical and very important.
Yeah, I know the research is, obviously better than it was 10 years and it continues to get better. I noticed some individuals in the House have Parkinson's or just found out. And that's,
Yeah.
it's unfortunate, but when they fight too, it really means the world to all of us.
Yeah, in fact, we had named the bill in part in name of Honorable Jennifer Wexton, who had been diagnosed as a rather young woman with what she calls a Parkinson's on steroid outcome, where it's a certain order of Parkinson impact that really has really impacted her severely. And so she has been named, her name has been placed as the new, within the new title of HR 2365, along with that of Dr. Emmanuel Bilirakis, who had passed earlier in 23 to Parkinson's, and happens to be the brother Representative Gus Bilirakis, who was terrific to work with on this bill.
I was lucky that you aired it publicly, so I was able to watch the speech and see all the incredible individuals who put their time, life, and dedication into the bill. To thank everyone for me for to them to that. I was lucky enough to be asked by Michael J. Fox Foundation to speak to my representative. I remember it's on my website, but it was only 3 minutes. But there were other individuals with Parkinson's and they weren't doing well. And then I said, my speech, I spoke in front of many people. But one part of the speech just says, my mother won't be able to blow bubbles in the backyard with her grandkids anymore because of Parkinson's. And I fell apart. And I'm 6'2", 200 pounds, working law enforcement, falling apart. It's a
Well,
tough topics.
what's that tell us? We're all human, and that our stories are emotional. And
Yeah.
when we tell those stories and share them, powerful differences can be made.
What do you
So,
think the bill will do for the future? I've heard rumors, and I realized just a few months ago there's approximately 1 million. It might have changed in the U.S. with Parkinson. Then I found out there's 10 million throughout the world. What I was wondering is, and probably will happen, is if the U.S. passes this bill, other countries like Canada, the UK might even want to also adopt something like it.
yeah, there are strength in numbers. The more that we have investing in the fight against Parkinson's, the sooner we'll find that cure, and we'll have better treatment and better, more effective diagnosis. So I think it's important for us to look at the root causes here, and bringing together representatives from federal agencies and then the non-federal, folks who have skin in the game, so to speak, who have awareness, intellect, experience. Those non-federal stakeholders will be a major factor uniting with these federal agency reps.
Thank you. Yeah, just a few more because again, I know you're busy with your schedule. Why do you think individuals who do not have Parkinson's or not affected should be, involved or gain awareness?
Well, certainly there's the humanitarian aspect, which is the most important. Somewhere out there, we all know a friend, a neighbor, a family member who will be impacted, who perhaps is impacted as we speak or will be. The odds are, that someone like that will in your life will be impacted by Parkinson's. And so, it's the humanitarian thing. Let's fight because we never know. Again, this disease knows no bounds. But also, if we're just looking at the finances of it, it's forecasted that it will cost the United States some $52 billion annually. We don't want to turn this into a dollars and cents debate, but for those who are concerned about containing costs, here's a good challenge. Get out there and make certain we nip this in the bud and do everything we can for prevention and diagnosis and a cure. So we're all affected by this. We're all interconnected, and what upheavals affect one should be felt by all. I think that that's the full universe of a community, and our democracy, I believe, functions best when the spirit of community embraces us.
And one aspect of the bill I liked, obviously, I was a caregiver, but it also supports the caregivers. Do you have any advice or you can touch on caregivers and a little bit more about the bill? Again, I know it's a long bill. We don't have the time to go through every page, but just a little bit more as we kind of conclude today.
Sure, I think the caregiver is a very important part in the equation of quality of care, quality of life with that care. It's important for us to assist in a full dynamic in not just addressing the individual, but his or her loved ones. And then we're making this complete. So even providing for better information, awareness of programs, resources, respite for the caregiver, those are all important. And so we wanted to make certain that this was holistic, that there were the wraparound pieces that were necessary, and that truly we're addressing this with great dignity and respect for the Parkinson's community.
And where are you located? What state? I just want everybody to know.
Oh, I live in the capital region of New York. My district includes Albany, New York, the capital, but I'm from Amsterdam, New York, some 30 miles west. But again, we see a great number of people who are living this struggle, and we, for the sake of everyone, this is about to me, the best commodity we could ever deliver in government is hope. And this is about hope, providing hope for folks that the tomorrow is going to be brighter.
As a New Yorker, different part, Brooklyn, I really appreciate all you do. Is there any, how would someone reach you if they wanted to, as a website, and also you work on anything that you wanted to discuss or any big things coming up?
Sure. They can easily reach us at Paul Tonko at iCloud.com. But our office, I'll share that number, 202 225 5076. Call our office. We'll be more than happy to work with you if you have ideas, if you need connection, if you want to know more about the bill. We welcome all sorts of input.
I really appreciate that. And if you have, I'd love to speak to any of the other representatives if they ever have time. I think it's important because you all have such incredible voices out there, and also the reach is just incredible.
Yes, I think Emily also, Emily Silverberg, who worked as our legislative director on this bill and did a lot of terrific work, posted her email also
Yeah.
for the sake of contact.
I wanted to thank Emily, David, your whole staff, Rachel, and yourself for giving me even this time. It just
Oh, our honor.
I was really excited. Again, I've worked in politics, met some of I've actually met presidents like President Clinton, but to me, no offense to him, what you all did really changed my life. Again, it's too late for us, but it's not for all the, I've actually become, family and not just friends with a lot of individuals with Parkinson's, and that's what keeps me up at night thinking about them. So again, I'm grateful. And just on the last note, I always end every podcast with this. We love you. We support you. We care about you, and you're never alone. I'll advocate, and so will our representative. But we'll advocate for you, and together our voices are so much stronger. And I always joke and say I'm just getting started, but obviously we've been doing this for some time. So I just wanted to again thank you with all my heart.
Okay.
Hopefully, we can keep in touch. But I feel that, you meet someone, you probably do a lot of these, but I think this is different. I feel like this is, it touches the heart. Again, there's no argument over politics, but I do feel like we all become family. So again, thanks for your service, for everything, not just for this, but for everything you do. And again, I'm grateful for both of your time today. Thank
My pleasure. And I'm impressed with your Together for Sharon effort.
you.
Very good luck with that. And my condolences on the passing of your mom. These are the stories that we want motivate us so that we can help people avoid that kind of outcome in the prime of their lives. So thank you so much. I appreciate the work that you're doing and working through your grief to help others. It's a very selfless effort, and you should be proud of that. And we're proud of you. And your story is one of the many stories that really motivated us to respond and to be successful. So thank you.
I really appreciate it again, and I want to thank everyone listening. Please share this and support the representative and all his hard work, not just with Parkinson's, but again, he sacrificed a lot of time, dedication, and he has loved ones and friends that are also battling Parkinson's. So we never forget. We always remember. So thank you again, and thanks everyone for listening. And please join me again in the future Q&As with Sharon and George. Thank you, Representative.
Thank you, George.